Come on, Fluff. Come on. What? What?
Hello everybody, and today I have an interesting build here. This right here is a Leman Russ tank. The Leman Russ tank is a fictional tank from the game Warhammer 40k. And the reason I'm making it is because someone challenged me to make it. A few days ago, Brony HaloFan117 made a comment on my video saying he made a video for me. Here's the video right here.
Nim Productions, this is for you. Earlier, like 2-ish days ago, I commented on one of your videos telling you to make a Leman Russ tank. It was kind of like a challenge, but this is a Leman Russ tank. I built two already like months ago. I've had these for a while. But your challenge is to recreate at least one of these if you want. But yeah, that's my challenge for you. Good luck.
After I watched the video, I was really excited. Not only do I like a good challenge, but I can't believe someone actually made a video for me. In the video, he shows off his own Leman Russ tank that he made. And I have to say, that tank is pretty good. Anyways, he challenged me, so I accepted that challenge. And here we are. If you want to see his video, it'll be in the description below. Alright, so back to the topic. The Leman Russ tank was a really interesting tank because it had a very interesting shape. First of all, here's an actual image of the Leman Russ tank. As you can see, it has a lot of guns. So overall, I thought it was a pretty cool thing to build. So let's not waste any more time and start the actual tutorial.
Bubby, fetch!
As you can see from this clip, I started making the project at 7 AM. This is to show how much time it takes to make these projects. To start off, I started to cut out the shape of the side of the tank. This proved to be actually pretty challenging because of the abnormal shape. To get a sense of how big I wanted to make the tank, I had to compare it to an army man I had. Here's a picture of the Leman Russ tank with a human on the top. After cutting out one side of the tank, I had to cut out another. This will be for the outer parts of the tank. In order to achieve the thickness of the side of the tank, I needed to use some thicker cardboard. Usually I wouldn't use this method because the thicker cardboard has more gaps on the sides. But since there are tank tracks covering the whole perimeter of that side of the tank, it didn't really matter. Since hot glue doesn't stick that well to smooth surfaces like the other side of this cardboard, I used this white glue called Mod Podge, which was way better at combining the two pieces. Problem is, it takes a lot longer to dry. Once I was done making one side, I repeated for the other side. After I was done making the two sides, I decided to make the middle. To do this, I cut out a strip of cardboard and started gluing it on in the shape of the middle. This part was pretty self-explanatory and pretty easy. I just followed the shape of the tank from the pictures I found on Google. Once it was done, I had to attach it to the other side of the tank. I just aligned the two sides as perfectly as I could and then glued it on with hot glue. Once I was done, it looked a lot more like the actual tank. Now it was time to make the turret. Since I wanted the turret to actually turn, I had to make a mechanism for it. To do this, I used a knife to cut out a circle on the top of the tank, and then I got the circle I cut out and glued on a bigger square to it. Then I put the square circle thing under the circle I cut out on the tank, and glued on another square on the top. This might sound really complicated, and it probably is. And also I did it a little wrong because I did it after I assembled the tank. After that, I had to make the actual turret. I first cut out the shape of the turret, and then I wrapped some cardboard around to give it thickness. After that, I glue on the top. Now that the basic shape of the whole tank is done, it's time to start adding details. Some important details are the circle piece and the back piece on the turret. After I glue on the main details, I glue on some other extra details, such as random pieces of paper and other pieces of cardboard. This is to show other plates and other things on the tank. For the details, I use other scraps of cardboard that I didn't use before. I also add details to the main body of the tank. To stick the paper details onto the tank, I use Mod Podge. To make the actual barrel of the turret, I use this pencil that I found on the floor of my school. Using pencils as barrels is a reoccurring thing on my channel. So if you want to make some good tanks, just pick up some trash pencils on the floor of the school. Anyways, the first thing I do is take apart the pencil. The inner part of the mechanical pencil that holds lead is good for smaller turrets. The outer tube is better for bigger barrels. For the main turret of the tank, I use the outer tube, and then I use a scissor to cut the width of it. I usually save every piece of the pencil because they could be used for other guns on the tank. The first thing I do is glue on the actual tube. Then I wrap paper around the parts of the tube to give it more shape. After I was done adding all the details and the turret and all the things, it looked pretty cool. But of course I couldn't forget the outer guns. These guns on the side of the tank help keep enemy soldiers away from the tank. To make them, I cut out 2 trapezoids. Then I glue on this other strip of cardboard to give it thickness, but make sure to leave a hole because that's where the turret will actually go. Then I glue on the other trapezoid on the top. Then to make the actual gun, I got 2 cocktail sticks that I cut up, and then I wrapped them in paper. Then I glue on another piece of cardboard on the inside to attach the actual turret on. Then I glue them onto the sides of the tank. Then it's time to make the gun on the front. To do this, I cut out a weird triangle shape thingy where the angle actually attaches nicely to the actual tank. To make the gun, I glue on this tip of a mechanical pencil and this other plastic thingy. Then I glued it on. Hopefully gluing on the front gun makes more sense on how to make it. After that, I wanted to add one final detail. To do this, I cut out a little hole on the front of the tank. This is on the actual tank and it helps the people inside the tank see outside the tank. I just cut out a hole with my knife and then glue on a little visor on the top. Then finally, I glue on the turret. After all that, I had the finished product. Of course it doesn't look too cool right now, but after we paint it, it will look a lot better. To paint it, I covered it with a tan color and then I splashed on some green as camouflage. After I was done painting the body of the tank, I had to paint the turret separately with black. To make the tracks, I cut out strips of index cards, and then I glued them together. After that, I painted them the same color as the turrets, and then I folded the tracks to make it look more mechanical. After that, I glued on the tracks with super glue. After both of the tracks were added, I wanted to give the turrets more detail. Basically, I wanted to make the tip of the turrets look like they were worn down. So to do that, I dry brushed on some white paint. And after all that, I was basically done. As you can see from these close-ups, by folding the tracks it makes it look more mechanical. After finishing the project, it was 12 o'clock AM. It took only 5 hours to create this project. Anyways, here it is compared to some army men. And to add one last thing, I used a really thin brush to write the number 21 onto the side of the tank. This is because Leman Russ tanks have number markings on the side of the tanks. And the reason I put number 21 is because
9 plus 10.
21?
You stupid.
finally the tank was done. And to get a good place to photograph it and record it, I decided to bring it along to my camping trip. Anyways, thank you to Brony HaloFan117 for requesting and challenging me to make this. If you want, feel free to request anything you like. And also follow me on Instagram if you want to hear updates about the things I'm creating. Now that that's all out of the way, thank you all for watching.